I'm a serial job hopper. And the reason why I want to make this video today about serial job hopping is because it's something that has brought a lot of instability to my life and has brought a lot of, shame and embarrassment and whatnot wrapped up in it. And the more I've talked to people who are living with schizophrenia or schizoaffective disorder or some kind of chronic mental illness like this, the more frequent I think this happens in people. I think a lot of people who are dealing with chronic, serious mental illnesses oftentimes hop around from job to job a lot, or more than the average person. And like I said, it creates a lot of instability and, it makes it hard to build up a career. It makes it hard to build up stability in your life. It makes it hard to form social connections. It makes it hard to find financial security. And so there's a lot of ways that this can potentially impact someone's life. I think it's probably important to kind of explain a little bit why I am a job hopper and why people who have similar illnesses to me can be job hoppers as well. So basically, something that's happened for me multiple times in jobs is I would get a job and, I would either enjoy it or not, so you don't enjoy every job you get, but most oftentimes I would become stressed. And the stress would accumulate and I would be too embarrassed to ask for any kind of accommodations or anything. And it would just, spiral and build up until I kind of just broke down. And sometimes this would end in hospitalization. Then all of a sudden you are absent from work for weeks to months at a time and you're hospitalized for this. And so they get a letter saying that you're hospitalized and it's probably from a psychiatrist. And that is embarrassing. I don't know why. It shouldn't be embarrassing, but it is. And then, you have that all to navigate in terms of coming back, and I've kind of had my tail between my legs, so to speak, coming back to work after hospitalizations like that, where they then know that I have some sort of mental illness. And it's hard to talk about with them if I am worried at all about stigma. And so, that alone can be really difficult to manage. But even if there is no hospitalization involved, just dealing with symptoms on a day-to-day basis in the workplace can be a really, really difficult thing to do. There have been times where I have been even mildly symptomatic, but it has affected my ability to show up to work in a meaningful way. And so I have needed more flexibility than my employers have offered. I've needed more flexibility. I've needed mental health days. I've needed, accommodations in the workforce. And, part of the reason why I didn't get these is because I never went to my employers in the first place to ask for these types of accommodations and this type of flexibility. And I think a big part of why I didn't do this is because of the inherent stigma that is present within society and within places like work environments. And so that impeded me from getting accommodations in the first place that maybe would have alleviated some of the stress that builds up, or alleviated some of the times where I was so symptomatic and I just didn't want to go into work. And then that snowballed into feeling like I was inadequately performing and feeling like I just wanted to flee the situation and quit ultimately. And so, there's a lot of factors at play here in terms of why I would ultimately decide to quit the job without having much time at a job, or where I would be, forced out due to stigma, where they were like, well, you've been away for a while, so you might want to resign. That's happened too, where I've basically been asked to resign because of my mental health difficulties. And so, what can be done to address this? I think I already kind of mentioned that, it might be important to ask for accommodations from the get-go. But, I think that is maybe unfairly placing the onus of creating these kinds of work environments on the employee, when really I think it should be more the employer who is taking measures to create more, positive mental health in the workplace. And that goes for people who have mental illness and people who don't have mental illness, just creating a more suitable workplace for good mental health. And so some of the ways that this actually can be done, I think there's a lot of, I've talked about this before, how I get annoyed with, mental health initiatives in workplaces like bringing in puppies for, puppy play as a means to boost mental health in your employees, or bringing in a yoga instructor to do lunchtime yoga. You know, those are fun. Maybe it's a fun way of kind of team building and creating kind of a positive environment, but they're not really that good for mental health. So ways that you can actually address mental health and building positive mental health in the workplace if you are an employer are, being preemptive about asking your employees about if there's any accommodations they need in order to do their work in a meaningful and as productive a way as possible. Creating flexible work structures for your employees if they need it. I think that, increased flexibility would benefit anyone, regardless of if they have a mental illness or not, but especially if they're struggling with a mental illness, this can be really, really important. Also, providing mental health days, just like you provide sick days, I think is really, really important. I think it's absolutely silly to expect employees to just be ready to work every single day and to just be, filled with productive energy every single day. Everyone needs a break every now and then, and especially if you're dealing with a chronic mental illness and maybe you're experiencing more symptoms on a particular day, you might just need to take a mental health day. And I think that that will ultimately improve productivity overall in the long run. Another thing that has been stressful as an employee is not having benefits for things like covering my medication, or for things like therapy, or for seeing a psychiatrist. And so those can be really important factors to make sure you cover for your employees too. And I've kind of been talking about this in the context of the workplace, but a lot of these reasons that I've outlined for being a serial job hopper are the reasons why I've had difficulties keeping up and staying in schooling as well. I feel really, really grateful that I have found this YouTube channel as a means of sustaining myself and as a means of, being productive in society and contributing to society, because it is actually the longest job I have ever held. And I think that largely speaks to the flexible environment I'm able to provide for myself. And I work for myself and I work with my partner, Rob, who also provides a supportive environment for me. And there are days when I just don't have the capacity to work at the same capacity as I would otherwise hope to. And understanding that that is okay, and to give yourself space to kind of work through the ebbs and flows of your own personal capacity, I think is ultimately the best way to go about working. I think that this is a really critical mind shift that needs to happen in the way our workplaces are currently constructed. They're very much, the capitalistic 9-to-5, go, 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 but that just doesn't accommodate a huge number of people. And it's just not actually ending up being the most productive way to have people doing work. So if you are living with a chronic mental illness like me, and you are also experiencing this idea of being a serial job hopper like me, I just want to, reiterate that you are not alone in this struggle. And there are concrete reasons why it is difficult to stay employed for any length of time. And also, if you are an employer and you are looking to create better mental health or to support your employees better with their mental health, think about some of the things that I've mentioned in this video and think about how you can work with your employees to accommodate them in the most meaningful ways. Anyway, thanks for listening to why I am a serial job hopper. I hope that you found this video helpful. If you want to see more videos from us, make sure to subscribe. And also just a reminder that if you want to help support us in creating videos for this channel, to please check out our Patreon page. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, wishing you and your loved ones good health. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.